Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes. And we are here tonight with Capital Sons. We have all the members of Capital, all the sons, the whole family's here.
Yes, all the sons. Hi.
All the sons. Yes, yes. Thank you all for joining us. And I should say we've got Carl.
Yes,
And-
hi. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'll do is why don't I have you each introduce yourself just a little bit about yourself individually, and then we'll talk about you as a band. So, Carl.
Okay.
Your
Yeah,
best
I'm
Mickey Mouse
Carl.
Club.
Right. I'm Carl, and I'm the lead singer in the group, and also play rhythm guitar.
Awesome.
Hi.
Rick?
I'm Rick.
Yeah.
Rick, I'm lead guitar player. I think I'm the second longest member after Carl, and happy to be here. I don't know.
Awesome. Well, we learned that you're kind of a Jersey boy, so that's good to know.
Grew up in Jersey.
That's good. We've got Keith.
Yeah, I'm Keith. I play bass and sing backup vocals, and I'm the newest guy in the band. I joined maybe 2 years ago or so.
Nice. It's a good sign when the newest guy has been there for 2 years. It really is. You know, that's
It's
fantastic.
true. That's true.
Yeah. It's good to see. It's not like the exploding drummers anymore. You know.
Spontaneously combusting.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
And Mike.
We got Mike there.
Yeah. Keith recently usurped my position as the new guy. I felt like the new guy because I've only been with the group just about 4 years now, so I still feel new. But yeah, it's amazing how fast time goes. But been a part of it now and really enjoying the entire time I've been with the band.
Nice. I can't get over how the new guy that feels new. I've only been doing it for 4 years. I just think that's amazing because you guys have been together for 10 years.
Actually, I founded the group back in 2005, essentially. So it's been closer to 15, 16 years. We've had we've had some personnel changes over the years, but I truly feel that this is our strongest lineup ever. And I think that the new music that we just released speaks to that. So
I think that's awesome. Well, and I'm looking forward to talking to you because you've got a new album coming out, Tempest, coming out on February 15th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct. And so last year we obviously it was a tough year for everyone, musicians included, and so basically either all the gigs that we had on the books got canceled, or we decided to bow out of them just for pandemic related concerns. And so obviously we all of a sudden had a lot of free time, and what are we going to do with it? And we decided, you know what? Let's write some songs, and let's practice the hell out of them and get them tight as possible. And let's go into a studio and lay them down, and let's make some new videos while we're at it. And that's exactly what we did. And it's culminated in a 4-song EP that, yes, we're going to officially release on February 15th, called Tempest, which, if you're familiar with the definition of the word, it's basically a violent storm. I think is appropriate title for last year, and that's when we made these songs and recorded these songs, and I'm really proud of it, and I think the other guys are too. So that's what we got going on.
That's and I've been lucky enough to be listening to it a little bit. There feels like there's a little bit of a theme of almost a coming of age in some ways, and maybe not as for people, but for the community, societally,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the song Revolution Road, I mean, in and of itself is sort of, who doesn't love a good revolution song, right? And if there ever was a time for something of that nature, just with all that's been going on, wherever you stand politically, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, or if you're not even in the aisle, you know, just it's been a tumultuous 2020 was a tumultuous year in every way, shape, and form. And so, like, you know, whatever your revolution is, whatever your reason for wanting one is, I think it's a song that can sort of relate to anyone. And I've always kind of wanted to write sort of a revolution style song, and I never really up until this point had. So that's my revolution song, you know. And then of course Moderation too is definitely a song that was inspired by the uglier side of our American culture. And, you know, it's really a song about greed and, you know, not being able to or willing to live within one's means, and always, you know, sort of grass is always greener on the other side, always wanting something bigger, better, you know, and forgetting to just like live in the moment and be content with what you have. And I think that's a problem systemically in our culture, you know. So I wanted to write about it.
Yeah, and when you look at the times that were coming through between the George Floyd situation, this, you know, the election year, the COVID, and then the songs touch on, you know, change, revolution, turmoil, loneliness, loss, extreme choices, all that kind of stuff is wrapped in those 4 songs. So we kind of thought it was the perfect storm in a way, and Tempest kind of captured
It's the
that.
Tempest. Yes. There is, I really do enjoy, there's kind of a loss of naivete of some sort, you know, as you say it. And Rick, as you said, it really kind of does speak to all of the times that we're, you know, we've got a front big headline every day, you know, between the pandemic and the George Floyd and the election, as you said. But I think we will go back to a time now where we will appreciate things more. We won't be, hopefully, spending beyond our means. We won't be looking for excitement that you can buy, it feels like.
Mm-hmm. I hope so. I truly hope so. I think our nation needs to heal. Again, whatever side of the coin you're on, wherever you stand politically, like, I just think we all need to try and find a way to unify in some way, shape, or form. And however that we can do that, you know, any steps towards that we can take are good steps. Yeah. So, and then, yeah, this pandemic has just, you know, completely upended people's lives, and it's touched everybody, you know. It's, you know, these are songs that somewhat came naturally due to what's going on in the world. But I have always wanted to write a revolution song, so now I got one.
It's, you know, it's when I first listened to it, and even still when I do it, little tiny hints of early YouTube or U2.
Cool.
You know.
Well, I'll take that with a big thank you.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, and they wrote about when they would write about Sunday Bloody Sunday, and there was, you know, a situation in Ireland back then too, where no matter what side you stood on, you're still in the middle of the storm.
Yeah,
right.
This is kind of a sonic snapshot of what we've all been going through in a way.
Yeah, early U2 reference. I love it. That's you know, solid appreciation there. Are you from Ireland, Anne?
No, I lived there for several years, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah, so I lived there in the 80s, then I lived there much more recently, and yeah, so it's
cool.
some of that early vibe when it was more. You know, it's hard to be too into the revolution when you're suddenly Bono. I mean, it's a different look at the revolution when you're on top of and I don't, you know, no disrespect at all. It's just a different view of it. But I think back to some of the early days of it, which.
Well, he's come full circle, you know. I mean, he went from being a poor Irish young lad to being a rich old guy. You know,
We're still living in a different part of Dublin now, I think, is what we.
Yeah.
Releasing your songs through Apple.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of Ireland, our bass player Keith just went to Ireland recently.
Yeah, just before all the pandemic stuff, we were there over the holidays in 2019, first part of 2020. It was awesome.
Nice, nice. Did you see any music while you were there? Go to any of the music haunts or?
Yeah, we went to a lot. Matter of fact, my wife got invited to sit in on a jam for a traditional session.
Session, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was in Cork. We did a lot of traveling around and checked out a lot of different traditional sessions. And after the traditional sessions are done, the rock bands come in that play all this American rock. It was the weirdest thing, but it was cool. It was really a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, did you think you brought any of that into this new album with the new EP? Any touches of that trip of Ireland?
No.
You're always going to get a straight answer from Keith.
Oh, I was gonna say, Keith, you wrote Rains Came, right?
Yeah, correct. Yep.
What can you tell us about that? And then I have to tell you what I think about the name too.
Okay. It's a song I wrote actually a while back, and I've shown a few of my songs to these guys, and that was one that stuck out that they seemed to like, and so we decided to keep working on it. And when I wrote it, I just wrote it on the piano. It was really kind of a pretty mellow tune, and so it was really fun to work with these guys and kind of rockify the song. Capital sonify it, I think is
Nice.
what we called it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really took on its own life with the band, which was my hope. With anytime you present a song to a band, you kind of hope that they'll take it and turn it into something new. And so it's been really fun to work with these guys, and I was really honored, that they were willing to. I don't know if Carl's ever had anybody else, anybody else's songs that he's ever had in his band, over those 15 years. So it was an honor and a lot of fun, and I'm super glad it made the cut for the record.
Have you had anybody else write, Carl, too? Or has it only been you?
There's been our former bass player, he co-wrote a song, and then our original lead guitar player co-wrote a song. But aside from that, it's pretty much been me. But this is the first, this was kind of unique in that Keith wrote this song, and he wrote the chord progression, he wrote, the arrangement, he wrote the lyrics, it's his song, and he brought it to us, and we liked it. And, I've always been open to other songwriters in the group too. And I should say, while we're on the subject, like we all bring, as far as people writing their own parts for songs, like I've always championed independence and autonomy. I don't go, hey, Rick, I want you to play this guitar part. He writes all his own guitar parts, all his own solos, all his own licks. Mike writes all of his own drum parts. Keith writes all his own bass lines. And I like it that way, because those guys all do what they do better than I do it. So why would I sit here and want to tell them how, things should be done? And also, I think it chokes the creative process when you try to, I get it for like an artist like Prince, where the guy's just so talented and he's such a visionary and he can play 17 different instruments, like, master level. And, and he's Prince, but like, I'm not Prince. And like, I can write a decent song and I can sing, but I like working with other, capable, talented, skilled, musicians that can help me sort of bring my songs to life. And also, yeah. And now, we can have other people. I know Mike has written a song that he sent me a clip of that was pretty cool. And, I'd like to work on that at some point. Keith's got another song that he sent us a while back that I thought we all thought was pretty cool. We haven't gotten a chance to work on it yet, but I'd like to. And then Rick came up with a riff recently that we've started working on, and him and I sort of worked on the song a little bit more too at one point. And so, I mean, really, we're all writing. We're all a part of the process, which is good.
So
Oh,
I'm curious what's your second question was?
Oh. Well, I read that you were the newest member and it's Rains came, so I was like, oh, your last name, and you came into the band. So I had this whole,
It was entirely different, but you said we couldn't use those kinds of things in this interview. So Rainy came, but then we had to change it. So
Yeah.
PG, it's a PG song.
Under fives won't get that. That's awesome.
Good guess, Heather.
I kind
just-
of wish it was about that, Heather, but it was a little deeper meaning to that song.
It'd be an AC/DC song if it was the other way.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for sure. Funny.
next time.
That's, this is a terrible segue, but I have to go for it. So tell us about the videos that you guys are making.
Yeah. Well, they're nothing too racy going on so far. It's just we actually took advantage of the studios that we were working with. I shouldn't say took advantage. They offered us, for in exchange for some recording time to help us make some live videos, and so the first two that we've finished are live videos, but we really tried to make them look very different from one another, and they do. I think we accomplished that. And then we're going to be having two concept videos made by a guy named Ryan Weidman, who's a filmmaker and photographer, and we're just kind of waiting for springtime to and hopefully have a better opportunity to, because the concept videos might involve actors and location shooting and that sort of thing, which we're just kind of waiting for the pandemic to get better and the weather to get better and all of those things. So yeah, but a video for each song, so that'll be fun.
That is fun. Do you have a concept of the concepts?
Anyone
want to take that?
We've been
Very, very-
given a couple of video treatments, as they call them, so we kind of know what he has in mind, but I think it'd be best to let them debut and be interpreted as they appear. But we've gotten into video making over the past year or so. With the last album, Rose Colored World, we had some very professional videos done.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough to work with a guy named Hunter Christie, who also did a couple of videos for Guided by Voices. He turned out a couple of really good videos for us, and we've got other studio videos out there. So if you just search Capital Sons on YouTube, you'll find a few already out there.
Yeah.
Good representation of what we do.
Heather and I were talking today about how it was fun to see somebody who'd been doing videos even before the pandemic.
Right.
I'm a big proponent of, I think now with social media and everybody having a visual device in their phone, I think they listen with their eyes as much as anything these days. So we're going to try to do videos with every song from here on out.
Yep, that's the plan. And yeah, we do have 5 videos, five professionally made videos, I think, right now, if I can count correctly, already up on our YouTube page. And of course, we're soon to have 4 more that will, up there with, and we have some lyric videos that band members have made too, as well, for songs that we didn't have professional videos made for. And we've got live videos up there too. And so, the YouTube page is a fun place for somebody that's new to the group to check out and learn more about us.
Well, and your lyrics are so good that I even like the lyric video. I don't mean to say that in any kind of disparaging way whatsoever. I really do like, listen to it and to see the words in front of me, because sometimes it hits my brain in a different way. And the lyrics, you guys do a nice job with the lyrics. I think it's.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And I appreciate the feedback, because you know, we've just gotten into that whole, the whole lyric video thing was the new thing to us recently too. So it's like, but I hear what you're saying. Like sometimes I have trouble, you know, making out what a, you know, singer's saying at a specific, you know, place or time, or, you know, I mean, there's the old "excuse me while I kiss this guy" thing, right? The Jimi Hendrix, you know, like that's a famous one, right? You know,
Yep.
it's
Yep.
like,
I
so
had a friend who was miserable at that.
yeah.
I am
But I
Iron Man.
appreciate it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Heather's pretty
yeah.
bad, but I had my I am Iron Man. She thought it was gypsies, tramps, and thieves. Like, how would you?
Yeah.
Even when you can, there's just something different about seeing it written like poetry.
Mhm.
It just gets
Yep.
into my brain in a different way, I think. And as I said, the lyrics are.
And that's exactly, I started off writing poetry in, you know, sort of elementary school and middle school. And then it, you know, and then it sort of, once I learned how to play guitar and write songs, you know, then it sort of turned into, my poetry turned into lyrics, right? So.
Is there a lyric or a line that, or a song that you particularly thought was clever or that you liked, lyric wise?
I know I'm not. Thing is I'm gonna have to read my own handwriting because I usually write down the things that I really.
I can say I liked something. Sorry, Anne, that
No.
we're talking crushed. You have something like, I know you're afraid to be alone. If you get to know yourself, you won't be lonely.
Yep. Yeah. I know you're afraid to be alone. If you get to know yourself, you won't be lonely anymore. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially sitting in isolation. I was like, oh, come on.
Well, thank
That
you.
one I
Yeah.
liked.
Thank
Well, I
you.
think-
Yeah.
And when crushed, I think it was the line that I liked from there too was that, you know, ignorance won't make us strong. I mean, there just is a lot of.
Cool. Well, thank you as well. Yeah. Yeah. It's that song is particularly about basically a relationship that's dead, but one person doesn't want it to be over, and the other is already sort of moving on to the next, or, you know, is already like, you know, it's over. And so, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, because I think probably many of us at one point in our life have had a relationship like that, where, you know, it's one person just doesn't want it to end, even if they know maybe it's already too late. But then the other person is sort of already there and has accepted that. So, and that can be very tough. I mean, that's very, very sort of primal human emotions can, you know, it's hard, you know, relationships ending and like accepting that they've ended is a hard thing for people to do. And I'm no exception to that. And so, yeah, that's what that song is sort of touching on.
I'm always torn with my favorite. It's either from the Rose Colored World album, Rainbows, Unicorns, and Jedi Masters,
Yes.
or from Moderation with Now All We Want to Do Is Eat Our Dinner. Or how's that go?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are my two favorites. Not quite as deep as the other ones.
Yeah.
That always catch my ear as clever.
Well,
I
thanks.
was gonna say, in the song Moderation, the lyrics and then the noise of all the instruments, just like, bah, 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 you know, I'm like opposite of Moderation, because it's just so loud. And
I'm glad you picked up on that, Heather, because like Rick actually went in after we initially recorded the song. Rick went in, made a second trip back to the studio to record a second guitar solo, and specifically because I really wanted him to sort of do more of a you know, there's a term called wanking, right? You know, where it's like if you guys have heard that before, but you know, we're guitar players sort of, you know, show off, right? And I wanted him to. The first solo he recorded was good. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. It was solid, but I really wanted to hear him like just rip into it and like sort of wank a little bit, you know, and like, because it's sort of the anti-moderation, right? You know, there's all these like dichotomies going on in that song. You know, we're singing about moderation, but then the lyrics in the verse are about anything but moderation, right? You know, and then so I wanted the guitar solo to be like this non-moderate guitar solo, and So, and he did. He went back in, and I give him credit. He made a special trip down there and spent another, a couple few hours in there, and I think he nailed the solo. So, good work, Rick.
I think the video for that one helps drive that point home too, because you get to see that contrast. Because even though it's an in-studio video, you see that we're sort of throwing a lot against the wall. There's gang vocals, there's multiple instruments going on, and at the end, Carl's got the megaphone and stuff. So it's definitely, like Carl said, the dichotomy of quoting moderation, but doing anything but in the studio. And
There's a lot of notes into those 3 chords. So
Yeah. And I'll do that a lot in my songwriting. I'll have like uplifting sort of sounding music with more like melancholy lyrics, or vice versa, right? Sort of darker sounding, stuff with upbeat lyrics. And I always find it clever when other songwriters do that sort of thing. Paul Westerberg's a great example of somebody who nails that like quite often, And I'm also a big fan of him as a lyricist too. I think he's written some great lyrics and great songs. I mean, just a phenomenal songwriter. I don't think he gets enough credit.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
And he's a local boy.
Yeah. I was gonna say lyric and I didn't write down the name of the song, something chaos. You had something in there and it reminded me of the Westerberg.
Oh,
Yeah.
Born into Chaos.
Yeah, sorry, Born into Chaos, which I like that video too.
Cool.
I
Thanks.
believe it was that video. Yeah.
I mean, I think all of our parts, we put a lot of thought into the nuances that are probably not necessarily always picked up, whether it's Mike getting the perfect drum part for the part, or even the solo for Revolution Road it's fairly simple, but there's a couple parts where it spars back and forth, and in the end is kind of the victory march, so I don't know if anybody else would interpret it that way, but that's kind of what I put down. So
I love the solo in that song you did. It totally reminds me of like Allman Brothers, and like now when when I hear it, like I can't think, it's almost like, oh God, I got to stop thinking about it. It just reminds me of Allman Brothers so much, but it does. But that's totally cool, and not like in a rip-off way either. Just like I felt like you were inspired,
mm-hmm.
So
like I said, it kind of goes. There's a couple parts in it where they battle back and forth, and then at the end, it's sort of that revolution, complete harmony.
No, I can't wait to listen to it again with that in mind. It's, but talking about the Allman Brothers, and there is there are undercurrents of a lot of several genres and a lot of different bands, but in an entirely new way in the music and overall. I think in a way that makes it new but familiar. You could like, that sounds a little bit like, it's.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good to hear that we're not sounding like we're just stealing material from other artists. And I don't think the cool thing about this group is we have pretty diverse, like, we're not all just like, huge Pearl Jam fans or something, like, we're pretty diverse in our personal music tastes, which I think makes us stronger, so there's an argument for diversity making things better, because I know we all listen to different stuff, and we all listen to similar stuff too, but I think, I think that makes our songwriting better, for sure.
They tend to start one way and evolve. You were talking about the songwriting process. Revolution Road, Carl came in, it was an acoustic guitar that's with chords. And so when I first heard it, I thought, it sounds kind of like a Dylan song, a 60s, a big acoustic guitar and strumming, and which kind of was the theme he was going for. But then I wanted to put a hook in the front of it, which is the little riff. And then we were working on a Pretenders tune for a cover tune, Middle of the Road, and he kind of during the verses has this little arpeggio thing going on. So I thought, well, I kind of like that, and I put that under the verse, and everybody else brings their mix to it, and it sort of evolves into this melting pot of styles and things, and go somewhere else.
You know, it's kind of the sign of, they say you should do something for 10,000 hours. You know, I think it's the sign of people who've been doing things for 10,000 or more hours, you know, that you're able to pick from different pieces,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So
Yeah. And actually with this album, or the EP, whatever you want to call it, it's one thing that we did that I really liked, and we had the time to do because of the pandemic, was we really worked on these songs. I mean, and I remember Keith was saying, you know, look, I want to really get these songs down tight, and you know, and we took them, you know, seriously, and we did. We really worked on these songs like week after week, and it really made the songs, I think, that much better, that we spent that much time with them, you know, just picking them apart, putting them back together again, and just honing in. We've never done that in Capital Sons to that level where we focused that, you know, intently and worked that hard on 4 songs, you know. So I will say that was, thanks, Keith, for you know, pushing us to do that.
Yeah, man.
There's silver linings of the pandemic. Suddenly we didn't have a gig to prepare for every 2-3 weeks or every month, whatever. So with the schedule cleared, we had the luxury of actually just focusing on the new material and not having to kind of keep the dust off of the set list or whatever, practicing for the next perpetual gig. So if there was one silver lining, that would be one of them now.
And these songs, to me, you know, the previous album, that they're a family of songs that really have a similar sound to them. These songs, to me, all sound very different, but have kind of maybe that theme we talked about earlier. You know, Keith's song, you know, is a sad song, a little bit of a melancholy song. So, you know, very different parts. You know, he's got lyrics that are emotional in there. So I wanted a really weepy, emotional little line that didn't take away from it. So everybody kind of puts their own spin on these things. But to me, we got 4 pretty different sounding songs. They connect. You know, I think originally we thought about not putting these out as a collection, and then, you know, Keith was the one that hit on, hey, these really are a collection. We all agreed. It was, you know, it was just emerged and grew that way.
there's much more of a thematic connection, I would think,
Yes.
which is great. You know, being able to hear totally different songs. I just think that's not, but you know, they're very distinct and in themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think partially we, you know, with the fact that we, you know, we recorded and pretty much wrote, I mean, Crushed, I actually wrote like 17 years ago, but aside from that, the other 3, well, I don't know when Keith wrote Rains Came, but Moderation and Revolution Road are newer, you know, songs I wrote much more recently and pretty much within the past year. And, you know, so there was also this sort of, like Keith mentioned, it being a body of work. And I like that sort of body of work, you know, like these are songs that we worked on and recorded during 2020, the year, you know, that everyone wants to forget about or whatever. But like this is when we did this, you know, so that in that way, they do feel, the songs all feel, even though they're very different songs, sound wise, in ways like this is when we recorded these songs, worked on these songs. And so in that way, they have that sort of, you know, cohesion.
Were you able to work on them together in the same room?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah. We, you know, we've just been trying to, you know, be safe and do it the best way we could. Right. You know, and
we eased into it. You know, we were all nervous like everybody.
Yeah.
You know.
And we've pulled the plug a couple of times. Like right now, we haven't been together since right before Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of, we've been watching the numbers, and when things are worse, we kind of reel it back in. And yeah, I'd say the bulk of the time we spent down there was when it looked like we were maybe coming out of it. But then, yeah, as things got scary again, we put the brakes on the in-person stuff.
But
Yeah.
it's worked out really well because we still get together. We actually have our Zoom meetings ourselves every week, and it's amazing how much stuff there is to talk about after you're done. So we push to get all the recording, done, but then, Mike said we're not together literally, but there's a lot of things to talk about, videos and release schedules, and an amazing amount of things that are minutia that I won't bore you with, but so it's kind of worked out well in that regard too. So in some ways, this has worked to our advantage.
That's great. It just seems like you folks feed really well off each other. Instead of each person bringing their parts, that it would be a huge advantage to be in the same room while you're creating music.
Oh, it is.
While it's developing, while it's,
Yeah, it's the best way to fly for sure. I mean, if you can do it, that's how you should do it, Not to say things can't be done, remotely. Certainly they can, but I don't know. I think when it comes to songwriting and 4 guys working or whoever working on a song, that's the best way to do it. Yeah. But it comes with challenges during pandemic years for sure.
Now, have you been able to perform these songs in front of people at all? I mean, I'm assuming you haven't done anything, in the last, but
Yeah.
I think
No.
Moderation saw the light of day a couple times before, and
Yeah, we made it, played it
times.
a couple times at shows, but we hadn't really finished it either. I mean, we had, but it's better now, and so no, for the most part, no. These are all, yeah.
Did we
Have
do
not
Rains
been.
Creek once, Keith, at one of the festivals, maybe?
Yeah, we did Rains Came once too. I know we did.
Not much. And the songs, every song sounds different now that we've worked it out in the studio as well. So it'll re-debut if we have played it before.
is it exciting to think of when you'll be able to perform, or is it a little nail bitey?
Probably both.
Yeah, I would say both. Yeah, there's a bit of both going on. Yeah.
It'll be weird. It'll been a long time, so it's going to be, a little bit nervous but exciting all at the same time. It'll be like the first time again.
Yeah.
Kind of like
We will do it like a EP release party at some point, but that's probably still a few months away, at least. So.
We missed what you said, Keith, too.
What's that?
I said we missed what you said too.
Oh, I said it's kind of like riding a bike. I'm pretty sure we'll get right back at it once we're able to start jamming.
Yeah. I was gonna say, when I was watching videos and stuff for you guys, somebody had commented on somebody saying, "Oh, you should play covers and fill this place up or whatever." And they said if you know them, they would rather play to 9 people and you get it rather than 900 and just have the place full. Has that always been where your mind is at, or more now as you've been doing it for years? Which I love that of you. So, but
I think it was actually one of our biggest fans, Noel. We call him Number 9, but there's a long story about. Well, actually, that is the story behind it. We call him Number 9 because he was, we were talking at a show once, and he came up to me. He said, "Man, you guys should be playing for packed houses and playing in giant clubs and whatnot." And I said to him, "Noel, I'd rather play for 9 people that get it than 900 that don't." And he loved that. And so he kind of rolled with that ever since. And he tells that story a lot now. And so now he is officially Number 9, even though he's probably our biggest fan. But yeah, I mean, of course, who wouldn't want to play for packed houses and, be playing Madison Square Garden, but you have to do what you are able to, and until the day that we are playing packed arenas, like I'd rather play for 9 people that get it, and you know, we can get crowds sometimes. It depends on, you know, just a lot of factors, but you know, hopefully with this new music, we reach some new people, and that's always the goal too, is just reach some new people. And you know, I've always said, like, if I can reach one person, if my songs, you know, or one of our songs kind of connects with one person at a show, like, that we've done our job, you know. Obviously, if it connects with 300 people, that's even better. But, like, you know, one is great, you know, like, and I don't know. It's there's times I've looked out in the crowd and seen somebody singing my lyrics like that. That is really, as a songwriter, that is like powerful, you know, to see that and look out there and witness, you know, see somebody has memorized, you know, lyrics that I wrote, and that's like the biggest you know, compliment you could give a songwriter, I think, and a lyricist. So yeah, the intimate, smaller connections are, to me, more powerful, I think. But sure, I'd love to be playing for 9,000, you know.
We always, the option to put on wigs and spandex and play old 80s songs will be there for a while. So
Yeah.
different direction, we can give that a thought. You know,
I mean, it's not like we're against playing cover. We do sprinkle in a handful of covers whenever we play out, but it's much different than being in a cover band, you know, as Noel was talking about in that clip. And I actually left a cover band to join Capital Sons. I was in a 90s cover band, and it's so not the same thing compared to creating something original and doing your own work. It's infinitely more satisfying doing the original thing. And yeah, I'm happy to be in a band that's doing that and turning out quality original music, especially.
I imagine the different, I mean, it's a cover band is great at a wedding, you know, when the music isn't necessary, not that the music isn't the focus, but it's not, it's the bride and groom, but it's, you know, it's always awesome to go see a band because you want to see that band.
Mhm.
You know, if you can get those people in the room, I'd say that would be a win.
Yeah,
A
being in
win.
a cover band, you're kind of like the human jukebox. You know, it's fun and it's got its time and place, but it doesn't compare to being in an original band and writing and creating your own stuff.
New stuff. That's, yeah. Well, and I
Absolutely.
hadn't thought about seeing someone sing your song before, because what's funny, if you're in the audience and you catch yourself singing it, you're always like, oh, what am I shouldn't be singing along. I'm terrible, you know. But I never thought about the flip side of it, of someone saying, oh, awesome, they know the song.
Yep, absolutely. That's it is. It's only happened a few times, but for me, there's been a couple times where I've looked out in the audience and there's somebody singing, you know, along with one of my songs, and that is a huge compliment, you know. So
It's the biggest honor, and so sing away.
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna take that away. I'm just gonna mouth it because I really am a terrible singer. But there have been times where you know, you kind of want to sing along, but then you're like,
Well, we play loud enough, you'll be fine. Let it fly.
I was gonna say, good that you have the lyric videos, because I would sing along and not have the right words. So you'll be like, no, Heather.
No one's kissing the sky.
yeah,
That's
it's not in the Garden of Eden. It's in Agata Davida.
Yeah.
Oh, that is funny. That's funny. Well, tell folks how they can find you online these days.
Okay, well, there's plenty of ways. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/Capital Sons. That's probably our most active social media site. And then, of course, we have Instagram. We have an Instagram account as well. I would say that's our second most active social media site. We have a Twitter account. And of course, we have a website, capitalsons.com. So yeah, that's where they can find us. And YouTube, we have a YouTube page as well.
Oh yeah, YouTube, Bandcamp.
Oh, and
Big.
Bandcamp, yeah, Bandcamp, of course.
So that's
too.
Rick's
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good one.
That's-
Don't forget that
Bandcamp's
one.
newer for us, so yeah, that's why I neglected to mention that. But yes, Bandcamp as well.
All the streaming services too, like
Yeah.
Spotify and Amazon Music and all those too.
iTunes, Pandora, all that. We're everywhere.
Yeah. And the Tempest is available now on Bandcamp, only exclusively on Bandcamp. But as of February 15th, it will be available everywhere online, iTunes, Amazon, anywhere music is sold, Spotify, Pandora, it'll be on all the streaming services as well.
KTEL.
K-Tel. It's good.
KTEL, yeah.
I,
That's a joke, right?
that's, well, now I'll be looking for K-Tel. I want to ask about the art, the cover art.
Well, the picture was painted by a friend of mine, who's an artist who lives in Paris. And then Mike really put together the actual layout of the cover and the pictures, and then he did the disc image inside. So yeah, we sent her the songs, and then she sent us some images that she thought captured
Wow.
it. And we all kind of hit on this one. So for us, it was a pretty smooth choice. You know, we usually banter things around. We all seem to agree on that, and you know, the layout I think looked great. So it really came together pretty easily.
Yeah, it's quite
Yeah,
striking.
I think I remember that being a unanimous decision quite quickly.
Yeah. No, we love that image. I mean, I just think it just seemed perfect. You know, the city. I'm looking at it, it's on my wall, but the city, the red road. You know, the tumultuous sky. It kind of looks like it's raining. It's gray. You know, it really captured the whole concept, the whole emotions, all wrapped up in those songs.
So, yeah, you said you got the Tempest and you got the kind of the Revolution Road coming up to yeah. All right, are we gonna get to see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I don't
Oh,
know,
we can actually,
I don't know if you can see it with the.
Lift it up a little bit, Rick. It's getting some glare.
Oh,
from
yeah,
your
there,
screen.
perfect.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
sorry about the glare, but
that's okay.
that gives you an idea of it.
With the glare, we're on the album cover too, kind of like Bernie. We had our little, if we were shivering, we'd be like if you've seen the Bernie memes for
Oh, yes.
after
With his
the
mittens.
inauguration, which was yesterday, I'll have to say for people who are listening to this another time.
Maybe
Yeah.
we can send you a picture of the image and you can pop it into the video if you want, or post it
Absolutely.
somewhere.
Absolutely. So well, thank you. I can't wait to listen to Revolution Road again now with the idea of it being more theater, more theater to it, the different, the fighting instruments and all that. I love that. I think that you guys do such a good job really of having songs that are so, have so many layers to them,
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much for having us on, and as you know, really fun talking to you guys. And of course, we'll be letting you know when the videos come out,
Please.
and as we sort of slow drip those out.
Good. Well, there we go. We've got the February 15th, the release outside of Bandcamp, although folks can listen to it now. And then we've got 4 videos that we know to look forward to. So
Yep.
That's us for the
Yep.
spring. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having us.
Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Heather.
Thanks, Ann and Heather. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.